Okay, so I didn't visit the last concert. You were in Smolensк, and so please tell me a few words about yourself. Where did you come from, and what kind of music do you play?
Okay, well, I come from a place called New York City in the United States. As far as the music I play, tonight I'll be doing a gothic electronica program, as they say. That's like the main thing that I'm doing. I also do, believe it or not, a Frank Sinatra lounge show as well.
How can you combine this?
How can I combine it? That's a very good question. I'm not even sure, but it works somehow. Sometimes I even do that for gothic shows as well. Sometimes it's something to do with a vampire theme. So it's a lot of fun. That music appeals to a lot of different people, so it's great. But the gothic electronica thing is my the main thing I do. And prior to that, I was the founder of the band Visaria for a while. We had an album on Century Media Records. I put the band on hold. The band is undead, as we say. And I'm just focusing on these projects right now. So it's a lot of fun, my solo projects. So keeps me busy, let's put it that way. Yeah.
Is Baron your real name?
Yes, it is. That's a very commonly asked question. I get that question
it's
asked.
Unusual.
Yeah, it definitely is. I'm an unusual person, I guess. But people always ask me that question in all different countries. But it is my real name. It's actually, I'm part Spanish on my mother's side, so the name Baron is taken from Baron. So that's where it comes from. It's not royalty or a land baron or anything like that. So that is the origin, and it is my real name. I can show you my birth certificate, you know. I don't have it with me. It's in the hotel.
How did you start to play music?
I'm sorry, what's that?
How did you start to play music?
How did I start? I always loved music when I was a kid. The first concert I saw was Kiss in New York City when I was 12 years old, and that inspired me, and I just wanted to start playing music. So I just picked up an instrument and started. First I started playing drums, but I grew up in a residential area in New York, and there's a lot of people around, so the drums were too loud, and everybody wanted to kill me. So then I switched over to bass guitar, and eventually I started singing after that. So just something that I was inspired to do as a child, and I did it. I'm glad I did. It keeps me sane, so it's good.
As far as I know, in New York there is a great competition among the different bands, and I think gothic bands. How can you get through?
Well, I don't know if I want to say it's a competition, but just like everything in New York, there's a million things going on all the time. There's a show every 10 feet, basically. The city that never sleeps, they call it, you know. So there's a lot of stuff going on, but you know, you just do your thing, and that's it. You know, a lot of the bands work together, you know, so it's not like we're competing with each other. You know, we're all part of the same genre, and we look at it that way. But, you know, it is hard to get noticed in New York City because there's so much going on. So you have to do a lot of things. The show I do in New York City has female performers, blood, guts, you know, whips and chains. So you have to do stuff like that in New York City. Hang upside down, you know.
How did you develop your personal style?
How did I develop it? That's a good question. I mean, I guess you're always, like with anybody else, you're always influenced by other artists and performers. And I guess you just kind of you're influenced by different things and you just put it all together and it just kind of comes out. So, you know, you're influenced by things at first and then you kind of just take it in your own way. You interpret things in your own way. So I think that's the best way to describe it. Just based on all the things that I love, and then I kind of just refiltered it, regurgitated it back out, you know, so.
Today's concert, I read in the internet that it's like a vampire party. Why is it so?
Why not?
And I see tattoos with bats.
Yeah.
And so
Frankenstein monster.
And Frankenstein monster. Have you read a lot about these? I don't know. Characters in literature.
Yeah, sure, of course. Bram Stoker, Dracula, Mary Shelley, Frankenstein. I'm a big fan of the old horror movies with Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff. You know, a lot of literature, like we said, cinema, comic books is a big inspiration as well. So, yeah, it all comes from that, you know.
Do you create your own world? I read about your previous band, Visaria, and the website says it's like some world, actually, another world maybe. And can you describe this world in which we live?
Sure. Well, the name Visaria was taken from one of the old Frankenstein movies. That was the name of a village that the second son of Dr. Frankenstein lived. So that would always come up in the old movies. So I thought that was an appropriate name for the band. and we use that. Yeah, just kind of our own little world, you know, based on the things we talked about, literature and film, and you know, heavy metal and goth. So you know, we owe it all to the Frankenstein film. So we tried to make it be the musical embodiment of the imagery that was seen in the films, and that's the case now with the solo electronica project as well. It's all based on that kind of imagery that you see in old movies and stuff. So you know.
Do you think it's possible to find another world, for example, Syria, in the dark streets of New York?
Is it possible to find another world in the dark streets of New York? Sure, a lot of different worlds in New York. I mean, a lot of different things happening. So, you know, New York is a place where there's multicultural, different types of music. So it's like a whole solar system, let's put it that way, with all different planets on it, you know?
New York is quite far from Smolensk.
Yeah, it sure is. Tell me about it, 9-hour flight.
And for me, actually, it's always, I wonder how musicians and singers from America come to Smolensk.
How do we come here? Well, very carefully. Let's see. Well, my Russian producer, who's sitting right behind you there, Yulia, she it's all her fault. She did it. She kind of put this all together, and that's kind of what got me here. You know, we thought it was a good thing to, you know, to perform our music in different parts of the world, and it seems like there's a great music scene here in Russia that's really growing, right? Wouldn't you say? A lot of great things happening in music these days in Russia. A lot of the bigger bands are coming here, I'm noticing. So, you know, we thought it'd be a good idea for me to come here and do a few concerts, and it's been a wonderful experience. Wonderful clubs, the audiences are great, you know, these kids are really enthusiastic and everything, and it's a pleasure to be here. I feel very warm, it's a very warm and welcoming experience for me.
I heard last time you got acquainted with the Smolensk bands. How do you find them?
I think they're great, the bands that I heard. Alex Sigmer, of course, the legendary Alex Sigmer, is a lot of fun. One of the other bands we have today is great as well. I don't really know too many of the bands yet, but everything I've heard I really like so far. I just wish I could understand, because I can't really understand Russian too well, but that's my only thing. Most Americans only speak one language, as you know, so we're at a disadvantage.
Do you think Smolensk can be a place for a big, maybe rock or metal festival?
Sure, absolutely, why not? I definitely think it could be. Definitely.
Last time on this visit, did you manage to have a walk around Smolensk?
Yeah, last time and this time as well. I saw some of the old cathedrals, which were very, very impressive. You know, wonderful artwork and everything, very moving. You know, as you know, Smolensk has a lot of old architecture. It's a very old city. So I'm a student of art history, so I definitely love you know, that type of thing. It's really amazing to see things that are 500 years old, 600 years old, older, you know. So I got to see a lot of that. On a more serious note, we did visit Katyn yesterday, which was a little on the sad side. So I mean, there's just so much wonderful history here from so many different eras. So it's great. I wish I had more time to see more, but everything I've seen so far is really very, very impressive. Let's put it that way.
Many people say that metal, gothic music, etc., it's just evil music. It's evil, negative atmosphere, and so on. Do you think?
What makes you say that? Actually, it's funny people say that, but I mean, the concert I did here last time, and even this concert, I mean, everybody was smiling, everybody's happy, I'm smiling, the audience is smiling, we're jumping up and down. So it really isn't evil and negative, I don't think. You know, it's more just, it's a form of expression, it's like art. You know, it depends how you interpret it as well. You know, but we've been having a lot of fun with this, so, you know, if it's evil and negative, it's a lot of fun. You know.
Can a vampire be a smiling person?
Sure. You know.
Okay. And what are your songs about? What are they about?
Let's see. I guess I think a lot of the songs are very romantic. Have a very romantic connotation. There's definitely a lot of romance in the vampire folklore. No question about it. You know. A lot of songs cover a lot of, you know, topics, fantasy-oriented things, a lot of passionate topics. Can be interpreted in different ways, I think. You know, maybe there's some anger and some angst, but we like to balance it out with just fantasy, escapism. Let's put it that way, pure escapism. You know, so I'll leave it at that.
And one personal question: do you like fantasy books?
Sure. I don't get too much of a chance to read as often as I would like to these days.
But can you mark some authors?
What's that?
Can you name some authors you like?
Fantasy books? Let's see. New or old? Or
It doesn't matter.
let's see. Well, I've always been a big fan of Pierre Bouel, who wrote the original Planet of the Apes book. That's a pretty fantastic tale right there. And then again, a lot of the horror writers that we spoke about earlier, Bram Stoker and Mary Shelley, Dracula and Frankenstein, respectively there. So maybe those might be my three favorites that I can mention at the moment.
Okay.
And actually, another favorite author of mine is myself. I'm also the author of a comic book series as well. I think I have it here in my bag, coincidentally.
And what are you writing about?
Guess. What do you think?
Vampires.
Right, there you go. It's a comic book series that we have out. It's my autobiography, and I'm the writer as well. It's called In Flesh and Spirit. In the story, it's my autobiography, like I said. In the story, I'm a 700-year-old European musician blasphemed by the church, and I'm murdered by a nun, and then I resurrect in contemporary New York City. So it's a lot of fun. I'll let you have this copy. You can check it out. Let me know what you think.
Okay. Can I have your photo with this book?
Sure, of course.